Okay, wonderful. So, Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to the India Pakistan Climate Action for Peace workshop organized by Peace Beyond Borders in collaboration with Climate Cadets Collective and Global Green Vision. We are delighted to see participants not only from India, Pakistan, but beyond who joined us for this unique conversation today. This workshop is basically an initiative by Peace Beyond Borders to start discussion on how climate action can also become peace action. Because climate change doesn't stop at national borders, neither should our solutions. Peace Beyond Borders is a cross border youth led project which aims to facilitate conversations between India and Pakistan through our various initiatives. Besides this workshop, we have a podcast series and a mini heritage documentary in the works. You can also check around those things into our socials as well. So, our project overall is supported by Davis Projects for Peace, which supports grassroots initiatives around the world that bring people together to build peace. Lastly, the moderators for today's workshop are me and Anya. A little bit about myself. My name is Ahmed, and I'm a Peace Studies graduate from the National Defense University, Islamabad. And my focus areas include conflict resolution, youth led peace building, and strategic communications for social impact. Now, Anya, you can please continue with your introduction. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this initiative of ours to connect people from both sides of the border and as well as people from other countries. The climate change is an issue which is growing more and more important day by day. So it is imperative that we have a conversation on it. We're also very pleased to have received registrations from people beyond India and Pakistan. So really excited to hear about their insights as well. We really hope that participants, no matter which country they live in, are able to take away from this workshop the importance of grassroots level change and cross country collaborations. A little bit about myself. I'm an Erasmus Mundus scholar in Masters in Global Markets Local Creativities, jointly offered by three European universities, and I hold a BA in History from University of Delhi. I'm very pleased to say that today we are joined by two esteemed youth led climate action organizations from India and Pakistan who will be giving presentations of their work today. From Pakistan, we have Global Green Vision. Global Green Vision, based in Multan, Pakistan, is a youth led initiative committed to sustainability and environmental stewardship. Their primary focus lies in advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 13, which is climate action, and SDG 14, life below water. They work to raise awareness, promote advocacy, and implement community based projects that address pressing challenges while fostering resilience and protecting ecosystems. By empowering youth and engaging communities, Global Green Vision strives to inspire collective action for a greener, healthier planet. Their mission is to create impactful solutions that contribute to a sustainable and climate secure future for all. I now request Ahmed to please introduce Climate Cadets Collective to the audience. Ahmed, you are on mute.
All my sincere apologies. Yeah, thank you so much, Anya, for the wonderful introduction about yourself and for the organizations who will be our collaborators. So let me quickly introduce you the Climate Cadets Collective, or shortly the Key C Cube. It's basically a youth-led organization working to make climate action accessible, inclusive, and impactful. They have a network of 400 plus change makers. Climate Cadets Collective, or you can say C3, empowers communities through research, advocacy, and grassroots engagement in the field of climate change. Its flagship program, the Climate Ambassadors Initiative, has trained over 150 school students in climate education, inspiring them to lead local projects and awareness campaigns, organizing e-waste collection drives, and raising awareness. The Climate Cadets Collective has partnered with institutions like the American Center on Norwegian Embassy, and this year is a proud partner organization for Climate Week India 2025, expanding globally through its youth forums like Batak on climate change. The Climate Cadets Collective continues to amplify youth leadership for a sustainable and climate secure future. Please take note of the format of today's workshop. Firstly, we'll be having a 30-minute presentation by the Climate Cadets Collective from India, the organization which I introduced you just now, followed by a 30-minute presentation from Global Green Vision, Pakistan, whom Anya introduced you. So participants are encouraged to share their views, questions, or comments in the chat box during the presentations. After the presentations, we will divide all participants into 4 breakout rooms and give them the opportunity to interact with fellow participants and discuss more questions which we will share later. Lastly, we'll have a 20-minute reflective session where we would love to hear participants share what they learned from today's session and how they plan to implement today's learning in their local surroundings. So before further ado, I would like to give the floor and to invite Ms. Vaishnavi Verma from Climate Cadets Collective to take the stage. Thank you so much.
Hi, I hope the screen is visible. Is that
Yes, it is visible.
so? Thank you so much, Suzy and Gaurav, Anya. I, I hope that I have you going to have a great time. So as you already have introduced climate adaptation, the work we do and everything. So that's the logo and that's our motto for the
Vaishnavi, I'm so sorry to interrupt you here, but your voice is not that much audible and we cannot clearly listen to your talk.
How is this now?
A little bit better.
Okay, so I think I can continue, and at any point where my voice is breaking, can you just in the middle stop me then and let me know?
Maybe can you raise the volume a bit high so that we can,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Uh, how is this now?
Yes, it's
Even
better
better
now.
than
Thank
me
you.
as well. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the screen is also visible. I'll start the presentation now. Uh, Thank you so much, Anya and Herbert, for introducing C-Cube. And as you've already introduced, so we'll just skip this first slide. Before I go ahead, this is a motto fostering the global environmental leadership. That's what we are doing. This is a little bio about CQ, what we are. So we started in 2024, and as you already mentioned, that our work, one of the flagship events that what we do is to build capacity. So that's what our work looks like. We train students on climate education and everything. We do climate workshops. We have been doing nature walks. We have been organizing a lot of activities and engaging the youth of the world via bilateral forums, via BetHub. So this is another thing that we just do in BetHub. This is going to be between India and Pakistan. That's a really amazing initiative, and thank you so much for approaching us for the same. Just little much about organization is already known, so I'll directly move to the slides that we have, and we as it's a climate workshops, so we wanted to just talk about a little more about what exactly we do in the form of research and climate change. In our PPT, you will be finding a few topics that we have included. So, it's a presentation from Climate Cadets Collective. So, 3 to 4 members who are directors of Climate Cadets Collective are going to give presentation, and this is just one topic that I am going to present, and that is we'll start with an introduction to what is exactly climate finance. So, I don't know how it is, but whenever you go and talk to someone who is not aware about these climate spaces and everything, and you just say this thing in front of because I'm doing my research in climate finance. I'm a fourth-year economics student from LSR University of Delhi who is doing her research in climate finance only. And when I first introduce my topic to someone, there's this one question: Oh my God, what is this climate finance? We have heard about public finance, we have heard of everything, but what is climate finance? So when we talk about climate finance, the first thing about it is that there is no particular definition to what it what exactly is climate finance. So there are differing views that remain on what counts basically when we talk about climate finance. But if we give a definition, we just try to give a definition, it might differ, but here is what I have written one from somewhere. So it's climate finance aims at reducing emissions and enhancing sinks of greenhouse gases, aims at reducing vulnerability, increasing adaptive capacity, and mainstreaming and increasing resilience of human and ecological system to negative climate impacts. As you will see in this definition itself, there are lots of and commas and everything, because it includes everything that is being taken into consideration for a sustainable future or for sustainable development, I should say. So when we talk about this climate finance, as to what finance means money, so where is this money being used for? So there are basically three different types of funds that exist in this theory of climate finance, and not just in theory but in practical uses as well. So there is one kind of fund which is called adaptation fund. Second will be a mitigation fund, and third will be a cross cutting that you will see in our other slides as well. I'll explain something over here as well. But these are three different domains for which these funds that we are organizing, we are asking for every now and then. You might be hearing a lot about finance in COP29. And there was a huge round that happened when they were asking for $1.3 trillion for climate finance, but end up only with $300 billion in COP29, which was actually called as a finance COP. And now when we are having COP30 coming in November this time in Brazil, there are agendas that people have. So we'll actually introduce you to both to a little of that too. But just if telling where this finance is used for, this is adaptation, which means the money that is required to adapt to the climate change, means adaptation. So you need to adapt. So it means that whatever kind of development you're doing, you're building some hospitals, you're building some infrastructure, you're building some products and everything. So they have to be abhi, whatever has happened. You can't change that. But for the coming, you know that the climate change is real and it's coming, right? So you have to build such mechanisms, such energy and such infrastructure in your countries, which is going to be resilient to that climate change effect. So that is what we mean by adaptation. So adaptation definitely may include your clean energy and sustainable and solar power panels and everything, because we know that in coming time the coal and petroleum will be over. So we need to have a lot of money to move to these renewable energy resources such as hydropower plants, such as solar energy and all. So these funds, if we're doing it in that sense, can be classified into as adaptation. And then there is this mitigation thing that comes, which exactly means that now climate change, because climate change is happening now, it's not a future thing, right? So you definitely need money to adapt to it, but a lot of destruction has already been happening. So we see a lot of floods are coming in India, a lot of countries are being flooded and everywhere else. Now the destruction has already happened. Now we need some money to reconstruct something that way. So that is where these funds mitigation are being used, where you actually are using this fund for mitigating to the effects of climate change. And there is this last newly fund that was actually implemented and introduced in COP28 and then carried on forward in COP29 as well. That's what we call the loss and damage fund, which is new. The areas where it can extend and everything is still being considered. Lots of debates are going on in COP, which is Conference of Parties and everything. So it's still a work in progress. But again, this is also coming, and the idea is like whatever loss and damage has happened, we need to fund that as well. So these are the kind of funds, and this is what the funding or climate finance is being used for. So as I already said, there are different views, no one definition. So this definition that is over here might just enlarge and go and on forever. And which is why it's a very controversial issue in the international scenario as well. Because for one country, climate finance means something, for another country, climate finance means something else. And which is where the debate comes in. They say this is what climate finance is, and the other person comes in, no, this is what it means for me because I need this. So based on the requirements of the countries, it differs. Second, that we talk about, like UNFCCC Conventions 4.3 and 4.4 mentions about climate finance, and Paris Agreement's Article 9 is the most controversial and most important one when we talk about the climate finance. These are the three board channels for international climate finance as to who is actually giving these funds. Where is this money coming from? So these are three different channels. First is, of course, the multilateral climate change funds. So there is, you might have heard of green GCF, green climate funds. So green climate fund, and there are lots of other 5 major multilateral funds that exist, which are basically being gathered and collected by multilateral in the sense like one and more countries are coming together and creating that particular fund. UNFCCC also manages a lot of funds, and this is one kind of, so a lot of countries coming together and creating multilateral climate change funds. And then bilateral means that 2 countries are actually collaborating with each other and doing it. And this comes third one, which is very exciting, and a lot of research in my area is also into something like this only, which is private sector and market-based flows. Because this is one thing, understanding, I might give a like very controversial statistics to you, but that is true that earlier, if you see, I'll just introduce you to this $100 billion goal. So in COP29, when they were asking for $1.3 trillion, Anya, am I audible if it's going all well?
Yes, your audible is going really well.
Okay. So when we're talking about NCQG, let's say when I'm saying private sector and market-based flows have become essential in today's time is because nobody is actually here to take the responsibility for climate change. Who's giving fund for to whom? So you might have heard of this clean CBA mechanism where the ones who have already used a lot of so let's say there's this I don't know, I'm not remembering the exact principle's name, but it's like the developed countries have actually used a lot of a lot of emissions and all when they industrialize. So now it's their responsibility to give us funds for that. So which is where this US dollar 100 billion goals and everything is coming. We have this Standing Committee on Finance, SCF, in UNFCCC basically, which produces a lot of reports, and they have their biennial assessment reports, which they produce biannually. Okay. So what happened in last COP29? Just a quick update to you that earlier we were having this $100 billion goal, which is already here. It was said in Copenhagen, COP15 and Paris Agreement also, that 2025 तक till 20 from 2025 से पहले from 2015 they all decided that they will be creating $100 billion every year for climate finance. So all these countries coming together who are the part of Paris Agreement, who have signed, who are members in UNFCCC, had this $100 billion goal. So every year they were doing it, and these biennial assessment reports are actually just to track these fundings as to where is this $100 billion being used. So these are the reports published by SCF. If you want to have a look, you can just go to UNFCCC's website and have a look into these reports as to where this funding is being utilized and all. But just last year when COP29 happened, so they actually asked for $1.3 trillion, depending upon the needs, requirements, inflation, everything comes in picture. So because this $100 billion aim and goal was decided in 2009, and now it's already 2025, and we are seeing that the SDG 2030 agenda is actually failing, and the situations have become worse, right? So we actually need more funding because countries are demanding more. So they actually demanded for $1.3 trillion, as you can see, $1.3 trillion. But what they got by COP29, which was called a finance COP, was $300 billion. So it was earlier $100 billion. They asked for $1.3 trillion, right? But what they got was $300 billion. So right now in 2025, this $100 billion goal, which was earlier being set in Copenhagen COP15, has been raised to $300 billion dollar aim and goal, which is a new quantum. And this is where it gives rise to this another framework that comes in, which is called Baku to Belém roadmap. So Baku, which was in Azerbaijan, the COP29, and now the next COP is scheduled in Belém, which is in Brazil, I guess. So Baku to Belém roadmap to $1.3 trillion led by the presidency. So this time they have actually, what do I say? It's a roadmap that they have created that they will ask for $1.3 trillion that they couldn't have asked, that they were asking last year but couldn't happen. So hopefully, let's see if that is possible, that happens or not. But just a quick statistics as to when they actually asked for 1.3 trillion, they only got $300 billion. I somewhere read this news, and that was a statistic that I still remember when this Ukraine-Russia war was going on. Then European Union just as the only country. So European Union actually gave and granted $800 billion to Ukraine for the construction from war. So from this statistics, just try to understand as to what is the scenario of climate finance in the international scenario, who is taking the responsibility. If a very small, like a European Union, of course, it's a very developed countries group for sure, but it's when it's compared to world countries on one plate, and the European Union just as one country giving $800 billion to a very small country for reconstruction from war, which is $800 billion. On the other hand, the whole world could only actually accumulate $300 billion for climate finance when asked for $1.3 trillion. So this is actually showing that nobody is here to take the responsibility, and we really, really need that. We can't just bang on the governments and the international scenarios and forums for more fundings and all. And this is where we come forward with the third broad channel for financing, which is private sector and market-based flows. So now these you might have heard of CSR initiatives and more like that, but here we are talking about carbon credits, carbon pricing, uh, voluntary carbon markets. So lots of countries are actually having carbon markets. Hopefully, India also launched its carbon market in 2012, and very recently, CERC, which is the Electricity Regulatory Commission in India, has released some draft for the regulatory framework for these carbon markets. Of course, India is a work in progress, but if we see, there are countries like European Union, a lot of countries in European Union, and as a whole, they have their own. You might have heard of this carbon border adjustment mechanism, which exists there. So the idea there, carbon border adjustment mechanism in EU is something like that. If we as a country are exporting our product to their country, and they will accumulate and they'll just calculate the kind of carbon emissions that might happen, that might incur. They will account and charge the countries which are importing, which are sending the goods in their own country. So it's like they're charging the carbon emission or pricing on the border itself. They are protecting our borders, their own borders. These are the kind of mechanisms existing all over the world. Countries have their own policies. There are financial institutions coming with green bonds. I think this is where the finances in the future lies. If you are looking for investment and all, do go for that, I would say. So this is what it takes exactly. So I think in conclusion, I would say that looking at these reports, as whatever I have mentioned over here, we actually have very less hope from all the developed countries and from all these countries. But of course, hope is hope. We will keep on asking because they are responsible for it, and we hope that they really account for it, right? But yeah, we really look forward to the market mechanisms to deal with the situation. Here is just a quick statistics from sixth biennial assessment, as you can see here. If we see that the bilateral fundings, which comes from two nations, 66% of it is used for adaptation, 53% of it is used for mitigation, and cross-cutting is nothing but the projects where adaptation and mitigation both are happening. So it's like for both, if we account, it's 74%. So we can say for cross-cutting, bilateral countries means two countries are collaborating with each other for fundings and everything for adaptation and mitigation fundings. And MDBs, multilateral development banks or multilateral forums who give money, they give more and more fundings for, again, cross-cutting, but I think comparatively they give more for adaptation rather than mitigation. So this is what I would say here. Now I would invite the next person to just talk about the climate justice, why climate justice matters.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi. That was a very thorough presentation. And I think everybody can see how very passionate you are about climate finance. What I will be talking about today, and I'll try to keep it as crisp as possible, I'll be talking about climate justice and climate equity, why that matters, and the real time things that we see every day around us, but we don't really connect, and sometimes the unfairness is there, it's right in front of us, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed and is as important as the other conversations that we have around climate. So climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's also a question of justice. the burdens and the benefits of climate action are almost always not equally shared, which is to say that that's where the idea of justice and equity in climate conversations come in. It's about recognizing that climate change doesn't affect everyone equally. The poorest and the most vulnerable communities are the ones who face the harshest consequences, even though they contribute the least to the problem. If you look at it globally, I think this was news just a few weeks back. I read that and I thought I'd put it into presentation. These are small island nations of the Pacific like Kiribati and Tuvalu. These are the front lines of these rising sea levels, and some of the villages there are already relocating. They're tying up with other countries like Canada and these other countries who are wanting to sort of give that shelter. But all in all, their culture and their homes at a very significant level are being erased, and they're being impacted the most, even though they don't contribute as much as developed countries, as much as these big powerhouses with very large economies, right? If I talk about India in particular, and this is just stuff that I think we see around us all the time, injustice is visible in a daily lifetime where farmers, who over 40% of our workforce inhabit that, are losing crops to erratic rainfall, record-breaking heat waves in Assam and Bihar, and especially particularly repeated floods destroy homes every year after year. Meanwhile, when you talk about urban informal workers and daily wage workers, the very either it's very harsh rainfall or it's very harsh heat and toxic air, and they have no safety nets to fall back on at the same way that wealthy nations and elites in a country or even the middle class does, right? And these nations, the wealthy nations, these are the ones who have historically contributed the most. A term for that in the industry way would be Commonwealth differentiated responsibility, and they have the sources to adapt and shield themselves, which the other side obviously lacks. I think this is something that the Paris Agreement also recognized, that equity is central to the most central and is the most effective climate action that there can be, right? Now, the second slide, please, Vaishnavi. Now, the path to climate equity is just achieving fair, inclusive, and sustainable policies, participation, and education. All of these, they work hand in hand for us to actually pave that way, right? When you talk about inclusive policies, climate equity means designing laws and frameworks that specifically protect the most vulnerable sections, whether that's women, that's farmers, that's indigenous groups, they are informal workers. I think, as Vaishnavi also talked about at COP28, the loss and fund damage, right? I think that's approximately $700 million that were pledged. And that's very, very less when you see the actual damage that is happening to these developing countries. But even just the more amount of funding that needed, and also that true inclusive policy is not just about pledging at these grand platforms, it's also about ensuring that finance and technology flow very fairly to these communities who are facing the most harshest impacts, right? When you talk about community action, equity also means that empowering people at the grassroots is very, very crucial. Communities often are the first responders, whether that's farmers adopting water saving practices in Maharashtra, or there's a lot of coastal changes happening in Kerala, and people are dealing with that at any level that they can. So the knowledge and the techniques that they have are not something that should be ignored, and that one system fits all is not really the way to go about it, right? The local techniques need to be empowered and strengthened instead of just ignored. Lastly, when we talk about climate finance, I think awareness is the most and the first crucial part, as anybody would tell you. A UNESCO survey, I think of 2021, says that 1 in 5 young people globally find that they are confident in their knowledge of climate change, and that's just youth, right? We're not talking about people who are not even that much aware about it. So the gap is enormous, and like we're doing workshops like this, right? And another important role that they're playing is that they're building the conversation. They're helping us to anybody who sees this, anybody who's here in the meeting knows at least something or takes away some important information, right? But for actual systematic change to happen, I think governments and institutions need to realize that integrating climate education systematically is important, so that people don't feel that it's just something that's something that's a choice. It's something that's as important as the other subjects you study, might not have been relevant in our parents' times, but it sure is relevant now. And that's something that the outdated systems and the systematic way in which we take education is important. So yeah, I think the just transition and the way to a cleaner and more resilient future is inclusive. That's the only way you actually do go about it without totally ignoring or sidelining these communities. And yeah, I think that's largely a lot of what I wanted to talk about. Moksha will be talking about blue and green economies. So yeah, over to you, Moksha.
Yeah, am I audible?
Sorry to Yes, Moksh, you're audible. Sorry to interrupt you. I would request all participants to please keep their cameras, to keep their mics on mute while the presenters are giving their presentation so that there are no interruptions. And of course, you're open to keep your cameras on. Okay, Moksh, you can go ahead.
Thank you. So we have talked about climate finance. We have talked about the path to climate equity. I would say that to go on that part, we need certain powerful forward-looking frameworks, and that is what I would be talking about. Firstly, the green economy, and the second one is blue economy. So let me briefly explain what these mean for our region specifically as we discuss here today in our workshop. So, firstly, the definition given by UNEP, which is the United Nations Environment Programme, the green economy, a term formalized by the UNEP, represents a fundamental systematic shift. Now, it calls for an economic model that fosters, firstly, low carbon, secondly, resource efficiency, and thirdly, the social inclusiveness development that works together. Now, this is not just a theoretical concept, it is a direct organization of a core goal of the Paris Agreement, as Vaishnavi also talked about, and certainly mentioning about Article 2.1c, so which mandates making all financial flows consistent with a low emission, climate resilient future. So that is working, in that way. Secondly, while the slide captures, as you can see, the essence, the practical application of this principle involves suite of transformative strategies. Firstly, would be the pioneering circular systems that design out way entirely for us. Secondly, would be investing in green infrastructure for our cities. And so sorry, guys, for the background noise if that's coming. Secondly, would be investing in green infrastructure for our cities. And thirdly, would be deploying nature-based solutions like large-scale afforestation that we work on. Now, the momentum that we are witnessing is both global and strikingly local. So, the landmark at COP28 agreement was a watershed moment for us and setting a definitive mandate to transition away from fossil fuels and triple renewable energy capacity by 2030. That is being discussed already. So, this is not a distant ideal, I would say. It is a reality unfolding in our region. And here in India's remarkable ascent as the world's fourth largest renewable energy market, with its ambition target, demonstrates formidable national commitment. Crucially, and this is a point of synergy. So here, Pakistan also is making, profound strides through initiatives like Recharge Pakistan project funded by the Green Climate Fund. Specifically, this venture is a world-class example of ecosystem-based adaptation. And now it is moreover a quintessential green economy project and a living example of the finance flow alignment called for by, again, the Paris Agreement, the article that I discussed. Furthermore, moving on to explain the same concept, this convergence of ambition and action unveils a profound opportunity for collaborative innovation among both the countries. And imagine the potential of a joint cross-border renewable energy grid. For both the countries, or the collaborative R&D, research and development in climate resilient agriculture. And these are not just projects, they are practical steps to align our region's development with the goals of the Paris Agreement, ensuring energy security and sustainable livelihoods for millions. Yes, Vaishnavi, can you please move to the next slide? Yeah. So now talking about the blue economy. So parallel to the green economy is the blue economy, a concept promoted by the World Bank, which emphasizes the sustainable use of ocean and freshwater resources for economic growth, improve livelihoods and jobs while preserving ecosystem. And this too is a direct response to the imperative of Article 2.1c, focusing on building climate resilience through the prudent management of our most vital shared resource, which is water. Now, this translates into actionable priorities. Firstly, promoting sustainable fisheries. Secondly, is to lead marine conservation efforts to protect critical mangroves that are there. And thirdly, would be to launch the initiatives to reduce pollution in our waters. So now that I'm not sure. Okay. Um, Maybe I haven't added that data. Maybe we can circulate that after the workshop to the participants. So I've been looking at the data. So maybe I won't mention about that. So briefly, coming on to the shared hydrological system that both the countries have. So that supports the livelihoods and food security of an estimated like 300 million people, and its health is vitally dependent on the Himalayan glaciers that are there, and the system reported by the Indian Center for Integrated Mountain Development to be retreating at an alarming rate. Furthermore, Pakistan's coastline and the ecologically rich Indus Delta are are accurately vulnerable, making sustainable management a national priority and a regional imperative. Furthermore, this interconnected destiny makes a compelling case for scientific diplomacy, I feel, and the establishment of a joint Indus Basin Research Commission for transparent data sharing is not a political concession. It is a strategic necessity, as I feel, for effective flood forecasting or maybe some drought management. So, this is the practical application of the blue economy and a direct contribution to the climate resilient development pathway, where environmental stewardship becomes the very foundation for lasting regional stability and prosperity. So, now just summing up whatever I talked about, in summary, these frameworks, the both green economy and the blue economy, they illuminate an incontrovertible truth, which is our environmental and economic futures are fundamentally intertwined, a reality now enshrined in global accords like the Paris Agreement. The challenges are shared, we know, but so too is the capacity for innovation and collaborative problem solving. Both the economies provide us with a shared language and a common toolkit to optionalize, and these level high goals to be maintained. Furthermore, they move us beyond a narrative of scarcity and conflict to one of opportunity and mutual gain. This foundational understanding of both of this vision and the actionable frameworks, I feel, perfectly sets the stage for our subsequent dialogue. Now, I feel let us transition to the next part of the presentation. So maybe Sahil can go over. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for this opportunity, and thank you, Moksh, for explaining the green economy circle and everything extremely clearly. Now I'll focus on one of the most important thing which lies in climate change and the perspective of how communities are addressing this cause and how are they getting affected in larger context. I mean, I'll start with an example which I would give you to understand the issue at larger format. Imagine there is a village which is 50-kilometer far from Leh Ladakh center, which is called Kulum. 10 years ago, back in 2015, 2010, they were having green fields. They were like planting wheat, potatoes. They had streams, glacier, which were irrigating their land. At this point of time, post 10 years, the rivers have dried, the land which they were irrigating have completely become barren land. And they were dependent on the glacier water, which is not existing now at this point of time because of the climate district of Kulam. They migrated to other cities which were nearby by the am I audible? Guys, can you confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, Sahil, you're audible. There is some internet issue, but you are audible right now.
Okay. Can you just tell me till where I was audible so that I can continue from that point of time?
You were going to introduce the case studies, I think, so you can continue from there.
Okay, great. So I would give you an example of a case study which is based in Ladakh, which is very near to all of either to the Pakistan even. Imagine that there is a village which is in Himalayas, which is 50 kilometers from the Leh, the center of Ladakh. It's called Kulum. 10 years ago, there were green fields. They were having potatoes on their land. They were irrigating their land in a greater capacity. They were going wheats or and even peas and all sort of crops which was possible in that ecological framework. And they had water irrigation from glacier was the main source of water irrigation for them. Post tenure at this point of time, from 2021, Their rivers have dried. The irrigation land which they were using for their farming have become a barren land. They were forced to migrate from Kulum district to other parts of Jammu and Kashmir. And the glaciers have been melting faster than ever in any capacity. This is just not an example for one story which is existing in India. At larger context, this could be an example for any of the country which is situating in global south. And climate change intersects with the all sort of neoliberal development which is created in this ecological framework. For example, uh, post the revocation of 370A article in India from Ladakh and 35A, the development in Ladakh has been on extreme amount of ranges. A is building the border roads. B is the tourism has surged. Past in 2010, there were barely 20,000, 30,000 tourists who were going to visit in Ladakh and having their stays over there. At this point of time, according to the data of tourism ministry, there are more than 10 lakh people visiting per year, which is an extreme amount of rise. I mean, the clear example is that big problems which comes with development, which comes with neoliberal forces of commodification of all those resources to be provided to all greater communities, always happens at a greater cost of all these communities, which are either tribal people, which are either living in the most ecological fragile region of Northeast or Ladakh or the coastal areas in Kerala. And this could be literally happening across the places in global south. Either it's in Pakistan or either it's in the African continent, Nigeria. I will be focusing on the this presentation and on which I'm going to talk about. This is based on one of my research paper, which is published in the magazine of Delhi University. The paper is titled "The Decline of Communitarian Resource Right," which is based on a model of Carl Polanyi, which talks about how natural resources have been commodified and the community rights over these water resources, over their lands, have been eroded. And this is something which has aggregated the climate change in larger context. Now I'll focus on the challenge which we are facing in larger context, which you can also see in my PPT, which is about how fragile these areas are in terms of ecologically where they're placed. And second, about how this market-led development and market-led commodifications have been somewhere eroding the ecological integrity of that area and also fastening the climate vulnerabilities which is faced by these people. Post 2010, the tourism in Ladakh, which was surged, has impacted the glacier melting at higher cost. And glaciers in Ladakh is something which scientists call that 2/3 of like entire population of South Asia are dependent on Himalayas, for which means that by upcoming 50 years, this will be a threat for people who are dependent on water, who are dependent on Himalayas for water, and which is not just a smaller amount of population that covers entire amount of Bangladesh, all sort of India in larger context, and in population metrics, that's 2 billion people in larger context. Now let's understand how these issues are also tackled by governments at larger context, and why what my emphasis is that community-led developmental models are far better than all those top models which are done by government or either done by the neoliberal great institutions like UNFCCC or United Nations or large NGOs which are like Ford Foundation, which are existing in climate change, and they are giving a lot of funds. But let's understand how these funds are being used and how greater impact these funds are able to drive. In Ladakh, there is this body called Ladakh Autonomous Development for Hill, Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council, which is a primary autonomous body which was created for people of Ladakh to largely understand and decide how they want to use their natural resources, how they want to use their glaciers, and how they want to equip their land with. But the real problem is that despite it being very autonomous and being local oriented, so that is oriented by the government, it does not have a local representation of people. B, they don't have political and economical resources to address any sort of issues that they are facing in Ladakh. So this particular issue of that is commodification and removing the rights of communities over their resources, is called fictitious commodification. Polanyi talks about in his paper that where the idea when the land and the water is treated for the mark as a market goods, which is used for the capitalist people to either create huge amount of tourist infrastructure in Ladakh, or either in Northeast, or either used for the developmental projects at the cost of the communities. And this results into the collapse of the traditional ecosystem. Their cultural rights, which are inherited with that tribal community in Kolam, or either tribal communities in Northeast. And these communities are exposed. The clear understanding is not just on the idea of the issues that they're facing. They're also, the bigger understanding is that we are sitting in the AC rooms. All those mitigations of climates are happening in a very confrontiously comfortable zones for us to discuss this, and the communities which are facing are in the most ecologically fragile zones. They don't have resources to either mitigate the climate mitigation, and b, the state and the larger neoliberal institutions are not allowing them to actually engage with their resources and mitigate the climate change in larger context. I think now, since we have
Hello,
understand.
Sahil, really sorry to interrupt you, but we are running a little bit over schedule. So if you could wrap up in the next couple of minutes, that would be great.
I'll just take 3-4 minutes to compile. I have just one more PPT to do, and I'll try to do that as soon as possible. I hope that works. Am I audible?
Yes, that's fine. Like if you could wrap it up in 2 minutes, that would be great. Thank you.
All right. Now let's understand how have been communities responding to all these kind of vulnerabilities that they are facing. Since they are the primary frontliners who are getting impacted, in recently last year, if you would have observed the news in India specifically, there was climate fast, there was climate protest which was done by this protester, and who is also a scientist from Ladakh, which is called Sonam Wangchuk, who demanded for sixth schedule for the autonomous right and their autonomous economic well-being of those people who are from Ladakh. And they focused on the idea of traditional irrigation system and traditional rights over their lands. And this has been same even in the model of Kerala. When Kerala was facing 2018 flood, what happened that there was this women-led community model which was called Kudamshri model. They were the frontliners. Without the help of government, they created infrastructure which was addressing the flood which was there. They were trying to provide with all sort of flood reliefs in those areas which was affected by the climate flood. And same in the Northeast. Even the Forest Right Acts, which is there in India, is quite just on paper. It's not getting implemented. Larger context of all these ecologically vulnerable areas are not getting all sort of benefit out of all those documentation and all those wishes that are given by the government. In larger retrospect, I think the lesson here is to understand that how important it is to focus on the community tailored solution for climate action, either which is in Ladakh by Sonam Wangchuk and their team, which they created an artificial glacier to stop the runoff of the irrigation, or even in the Kerala, they created this Kudamshri model to adapt with the climate change and tackle the climate resilience for the flood which was there. And in Northeast, they started doing all sort of mixed farming, which was either organic farming, or they've also integrated a lot of funds which was given by NGOs to research on agricultural traditional way of mitigating the climate. And all this clumps up and binds us to one central thesis, which is for any sort of development which is happening across the world, either it's funded by any sort of top level governments, state governments, central governments, or through the big amount of NGOs, central CSR initiative, it's extremely important to first understand that how specific problems are different in each geographies. A climate problem in Ladakh is extremely different from a climate problem which is faced by a New Yorker or somebody who is sitting in London. So it's extremely important to firstly analyze the specific amount of climate changes which are existing there, and B is to understand those model of implementation through their roots, which is to give those local communities right resources and economic rights, or rights, resources, and tools to actually innovate their tools according to their own needs to mitigate the climate, which means in larger context is that you connect the beings who are affected by climates to implement solution according to their needs. That's what sums up my presentation, and I look forward for if any of you are interested in reading more on this paper, I will be sharing with the Peace Beyond Borders so that you can look into this presentation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi, Mansha, Moksh, and Sahil for this presentation. It was really nice to know about technical terms which are important before we design any community-based project. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Sheikh Abdul Rahman from Global Green Vision to go ahead with his presentation and also share the work that his organization has been doing.
Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. I'm audible to you,
Yes, you are audible.
and the presentation slides are visible.
Yes, they are visible.
Okay, thank you very much. And Assalamu alaikum. This is me, Sheikh Abdul Rahman from Pakistan, and I'm representing the Global Green VN as the founder. And I'm not taking just too much time. I know people are getting some bored as well. So I believe presentation is the two-way communication. So I have just some questions for you as well, and you have to reply and comment on the chat box as well. So with the interest of time, we have to shift. Okay, now we are going to conduct some India-Pakistan climate action for peace. First of all, we have to consider what peace is. The peace is without war is a peace. No, peace is inside our souls. When our souls are in peace, we live with a happy life. We live with a comfort zone. We live with a satisfying. So, before going to introduce my organization, Global Green VN, I would like to call Rida Kulbaz, the General Secretary, Public Relation Officer at Global Green VN, would introduce the Global Green VN. Okay, over to you, Rida Kulbaz.
Hello and assalamu alaikum everybody. I'm Rida Gulbaz from Multan, Pakistan, and I'm serving as the Public Relations Officer for Global Green Vision. In this role, I work to build connections, communicate our mission, and highlight the impact of our initiatives on climate action and peace. At Global Green Vision, we focus on empowering communities through awareness, reforestation, and collective action. And I'm proud to represent our team here today. Global Green Vision is a youth led initiative that works for environmental sustainability, climate action, and social equity. Our main focus is to empower communities through awareness campaigns, reforestation projects, and support programs. As part of this mission, we carried out plantation drives to restore green spaces and also raised awareness among people about the urgent need to act against climate change. Basically, this slide reflects who we are, what we stand for, and how we contribute towards building a healthier and more peaceful planet. Thank you. Over to you, Abdul Rahman.
Thank you very much, Rita Gulbaz. This is our introduction. Okay, as I said earlier, I need a two-way communication. So before going to start, what is climate change? We need just to understand what is climate and what is climate change. So, anyone going to tell me or just write in the chat box what is climate change and what's your knowledge about climate change? Actually, I can't see the chat box right now. Just give me a minute. Okay, yes, anyone? What is climate change when you hear this word, what comes in your mind first? What is climate change?
Guys, you can write even one word, like the first word which comes to your mind. Yes, thank you so much, Anya.
Okay, Sania said long-term change in the weather patterns. Yes, Naseem Ali, climate change means the long-term shift in the Earth's Varisha, climate change long-term. Yes, the actually we have the confusing between the climate and the weather as well. Climate is the long-term shifting or changing, and weather is the short-term shifting. So we have to conclude that the climate is a long-term by human activities and by disturbing our ecosystems as well. So now I am going to discuss what is climate change. Climate change is the change in Earth's climate, mostly by human activities. As we know, we have to disrupt the ecosystem, natural ecosystem, by our ongoing activities like deforestation, air pollution, building the industries as well, and making the more life with the internet and AI. So we have to develop such a system that we maintain the development and conservation. Actually, we just focus on the development, but we ignore the conservation. As we know, conservation is also the important impact in our climate change. So we maintain the development and conservation as well. Okay. Okay, now I am there to discuss just two sources of climate change: air pollution and deforestation. So, if I'm talking about air pollution, it contains many of the pollutants that's present in the air. PM 2.5. PM, what is PM 2.5? Anyone know about what is PM 2.5? Just write in the chat box. Yes, Tanya, you're right. Particulate matter. Actually, the particulate matter is the pollutants and their integrity or concentration that present in the air pollution as well. And NO2 is nitrogen dioxide gas and ozone layer as well. As we produce many of the chlorofluorocarbons and methane gas that would destroy our ozone layer, and directly sunlight hits our earth, that result would be the increase in the temperature. So this link to be the SDGs 15, life on land, where we have faced many heat waves in Pakistan, and I believe that heat waves are also happening in the India as well. And alongside deforestation, as we are working to destroy or destroy the trees by focusing the development, as I said earlier. So we have, if we are going to cutting the trees, now we have to conserve the trees by planting trees. If we are cutting 10 trees, we just plant a one tree. This is not a justice. This is the climate justice we want. If we cut 10 trees at a time, so we have to develop the next 10 trees on the same place, so no any remains are there as well. Okay, this is the picture, the air pollution in the Delhi, where I have to discuss the particulate matters and nitrogen dioxide. As you saw in the pictures, industrial sources, concentrations, diesel, the fuel and hotels, the households management, how they play a vital role to produce the air pollution. As you saw, industrial sources are 2% and construction demolitions are 2%. As we we are going and focusing on housing societies. Well, if I am talking about in Pakistan, many of the housing societies are going by degrading the land, fertile land, which would be greater, would be used in the future for the generation of the revenue in Pakistan. And but we are going to making the housing societies, and we are just focusing on the development, and by making the housing societies we gathered the land and making the population. So we have to strategy. We have to make the strategy to take this development in a proper way, in a management way, So then we have to achieve the goal of reducing the air pollution. Along the side, nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide is the most common gas, and it's also the laughing gas. If there are chemists in the webinar, so they are also known. Nitrogen dioxide is the laughing gas. So it would help us to maintain our temperature as well. Being a biotechnologist, I am working on the air pollution as well, and we have produced some microbes or some strains that would have a capacity to reduce the air pollution by stabilize these pollutants, nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide. So we are working on this project as well, and soon we have developed this and commercialized this project by testing this in Pakistan as well. Then we have move forward to the globally level. So global and South Asia problems. If I am talking about global and South Asia problems, the two major problems that we face from 2000 to till now, start of the industrial era, air pollution, sorry, and deforestation. And air pollution contains the 99% people breathe unsafe air and 6.7 million premature deaths as well. How air pollution affects this premature death? As you know, when the baby comes to deliver, when it comes to the 8 months, it has the lung surfactant. So when we inhale the pollutants in our body, when the female inhales the pollutants, the baby gets the pollutants in their lungs, and lung surfactant didn't survive, and the premature births are there. Premature deaths are there. So some of the premature births are also there in this case because the surfactants that present in the lungs are very crucial for our lungs to maintain their structure, because these surfactants provide the mechanical support and provide the fluid support to protect or maintain the structure of the lungs. And along the side, if I am talking about deforestation, from 2010, if I am talking about in Multan, and the housing society is called Defense Housing Society in Multan, there are many of the trees of mangoes among the Bhusan Road. But now on from 2010 to till now, the trees are now cutting down due to making the housing societies, and these housing societies would make a shifting of our natural air into the dirty air. So we have to make a plan and protect our planet. We have to maintain our policy. We have to make this policy and implement. We have many of the policies, many of the government laws, but just we need is implementation. We don't implement. We just focusing, and we have argument to the people. We not just focus on ourselves. We have focus on ourselves. If I am implement to this law, so that's why we have to focus on ourselves, and we have make sure to implement the sustainable living lifestyle. Here is the picture of Pakistan, and these are present from the 2000 to 2025. There is the forest, and now the forest, as you see, the green area that would be the disappear time by time, and the persistent forest, non-persistent forest. Actually, the persistent and non-persistent forest is the long life and survival of the forest. As you know, the rains and floods are coming there in the Pakistan, so most of the trees are degraded by the floods and raining as well. Okay, challenges and causes. What are the challenges? As we already know, the causes are just their transport, field energy transport. The transport contains the high methane and carbon dioxide emissions. We have to shift to the electric transport. I know, I believe this is very expensive to the common people, but we need to develop such a strategy to provide such a mechanical electrical transport to all the people. to make this pollution very compatible. And if we talking about field, our farmers are going to burn the crops, the residue of the crops, which also produce the gases, and would have to continue grow up and make combine to make a pollutant. If I am talking about household energy, the wasted energy, 2.54 billion rely on polluting fuels, as we are going to depleting the fossil fuels. What is fossil fuels? As you know, the atoms, the matter that would be never continuously used without, and we have just used in a one time. This is the fossil fuels. So we have shifted to the sustainable energy, that is SDG number 17, 7, sorry, SDG 17, affordable and sustainable energy. That would be the solar energy, wind energy, and we have developed the windmills on the site where the wind are coming very in a large amount. So we have developed such a strategy. Like if I'm talking about the Gwadar as well, so Gwadar, there is a huge distance and huge desert. So we have developed windmills, and we have created such a sustainable energy in a large amount, so we can compromise this system and overcome the overshedding. Okay, so solution, yes, if there is a problem, so there is a solution as well. And I believe in you, if you have faced any challenge, so you have just focus on the challenge. In the challenge, you find out the solution, you find out the opportunity to make this cause into the opportunity, make this cause into the solution as well. First, if I am talking about policy, yes, there are many environmental laws, there are environmental policies as well. In Pakistan as well, most of the environmental laws are very essential and very compatible to implement. And if we are going to as the previous presentation also said, the education, climate education. So climate education is just optional subject, as we just heard in the class 6 7. We just heard climate action, we didn't understand what is climate action. Now it's time to take understand this climate action and implement and take an action to compete this climate. And community, if I am talking about community is the collaboration and gathering the people on the same goal. As we have the same goal to protect our planet, as we know there is no planet B, so we have to gather the people and awareness and spread awareness among them about the SDGs, about the climate action, so they have aware of them. By Global Green Vision is going the same thing on this planet, as we have to provide the community education, climate education. So here is just two case studies. Case study one, Lahore smog action. Actually, as you know, Lahore is most famous city in global South Asia for the smog. As some of the I have just uploaded this funny meme as the crow arrived to their partners as well, and he said, "I am just arrived from Lahore," and but he is a parrot. So just in case, as this meme is not just a funny, it's a lesson, it's a education that we have to protect our planet, protect our city, that represent the Pakistan as well, and that represent the India as well. So now the government of Punjab in Pakistan has working, and many of the work has implement, like cleaning air, and we have developed the artificial rains as well, and maintaining the cities by cleaning them, and maintain the city by monitoring the residual, where the residues are burning and some of the things are doing. So we have to implement this activity in Lahore and in other cities as well. And next, if I'm talking about Indian nap, what is nap? If anyone know about nap, so just quick comment on the chat box. What is nap? Anyone know about what is NAP? Okay, no issue. I am going to tell about you. NAP is National Afforestation Program that would be make it happen 2000 years. Yes, mean 25 years ago, the government of Punjab, with the collaboration of Ministry of Forest, Environment and Ecosystem, have started this program, National Afforestation Program, and implemented by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. That would be the focus on the eco restoration of the land that would be degraded, but it's a fertile land till now, and working on afforestation because as we know, in Pakistan, if I'm talking about in Pakistan, we have planted 1 million of trees in one day, in single day. That Guinness World Book record as well. You may search on the Google as well. And the floods are coming there due to the deforestation in Pakistan. Because when the floods come from the dams or from the rivers, the majority of the plants are there to protect us by neutralize or by observing the water into the ground because they have a fertile soil and the water is observed very easily. So, what is the impact of this Indian NAP program? Thousands of hectares of degraded forest are restored, and most of the oxygens are covered because we all know that the oxygen of Earth is known as, this is very famous point. Oxygen of Earth is known as, anyone? Some of time we also call it the earth, lungs of the earth. Lungs of the earth. Which region we call lungs of the earth? Anyone know about that? Yes, Amazon. Amazon is 16% oxygen that globally covered 16% oxygen from Amazon. And this is the lungs of the earth, we also call this. So by so this is a question for you. What do you think? Can we achieve SDGs 2030 goals after right 5 months and 4 year 5 months and four sorry 5 years and 4 months? What do you think? Can we achieve SDGs 2030 goals? So what strategies do you think we can implement and achieve this goal 2030, nearly to 2030 or after 2030, 31, 32? So what strategies do you think? Just write some highlighting the points as well. Yes, Muhammad Ibrahim is just saying reduce carbon emission. Yes, we have developed such a monitoring system that we have monitor over the carbon footprints and carbon emissions as well. Anyone else? What strategies would? Okay, so let's move forward. So what is the outcome of this presentation or outcome of this awareness is that we have faces this pollutions, we have faces this deforestation, we have faced this crisis, but still solution exists. Don't just disappointed or disappear that global north has the most resources. No, you are very lucky, you have such a resources that would not found in the global north as well. So you just have to find out and you have to just deep research how we can contribute ourselves to the climate action, and they just talk about yourself and spread awareness to the community, educate your community as well. Just educate your community is the bigger impact, because global green vision, and I believe in a simple steps, that would be the global impact. And here is the references where you want some these pictures. Thank you very much. And I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. And stay tuned with us. You can scan us. And lastly, but not least, we are going to develop the Climate Education Fellowship, and the applications are live tomorrow. Stay tuned with us and scan our page and register yourself for the Climate Education Fellowship. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Abdul, for such an insightful presentation. I think you covered a lot of points which were necessary to have a conversation on this topic. And now we have come to one of the most important parts of today's workshop, which is the breakout room session. So we will be assigning everyone a breakout room, and you will see the pop-up on your screen pretty soon after I finish speaking. And each breakout room will have participants from both India and Pakistan. We want to give everyone the space to discuss what has been shared by both the organizations so far. And just to provide a structure to the discussion, we have also prepared a set of questions which you can discuss with your group mates. I will read them out loud and then I'll put them in the chat box as well as the WhatsApp group so that you have a record of them. So the first question is, what common climate changes do India and Pakistan face? What opportunities exist for cross-border collaboration? What challenges exist for cross-border collaboration and how can they be solved? If you need any assistance in navigating breakout rooms, please do let either me or Ahmed know. And also, each breakout room will have one person from the organizing team to moderate the discussion and to ensure that the discussion does not deviate from the topic at hand. So I'll just put the question in the chat box and WhatsApp group. And Ahmed, I think you can guide the participants on how to join the breakout room.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Anya. So I am opening the breakout rooms now. You guys will be seeing on your screen, there is a separate icon at the bottom of your screen with the name of breakout rooms. So I am assigning you breakout rooms there. You guys can respectively join your breakout rooms, and then you can have the conversation on the questions Anya is posting in the chat box and also is sharing in the WhatsApp group. So kindly let me know if you guys can see the breakout rooms pop up so that we can make sure you guys are joining. Those who are still in the meeting, there are instructions for you to join. Kindly join the breakout rooms that you'll be seeing on your screen right now so that you guys can have the discussion. I can see Mansha, Moksh, Rita, and Nithilia to please join your respective breakout rooms. Thank you. Rita, if you can hear me, I would also request you to join your respective breakout rooms. Thank you. Those who are still here, I kindly request you to join your respective breakout rooms. Ridan, you need to join breakout room 3, and Moksh, you I think already in the breakout room too. So yeah.
Nations. Okay, so I feel that our nations have distinct local contexts, and we are bound to have a shared geography, which makes us profoundly vulnerable to the same climate threats. Our challenges are not just similar, but they are like deeply interconnected with each other. And first of all, I would like to discuss maybe about the Himalayan chrysosphere that is there. So first and foremost, we both depend upon Hindu Kush Himalayan region, and like often called as the third pole, and its glaciers, which feeds the Indus, Ganges, and Brahmaputra river systems, are re-threatening at an alarming rate to both the nations. And this doesn't even threaten the future water security. Rather, it's create an immediate and terrifying cycle of climate paradox, which is the increased flooding from glacial melt and extreme rainfall that is happening. And in India, if you know, like it's been like almost September. Yeah, like the month is beginning from tomorrow, but it's been raining already a lot. And in Pakistan, also the situation is very worsened. So followed by, I mean, there are severe droughts as the natural water storage, the glaciers diminishes. Further, I feel that this directly impacts the flood, and the food and water security that are available to hundred of millions across the Punjab or the Sindh regions.
So that will always remain there. So there need to be neutral platforms to discuss such things.
Okay, that's great. Okay, next, Sahil Gupta. Could you please continue yourself, Sahil?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Abdul, I just wanted to check around if everything is going fine in this room.
Yeah, it was going well. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Sahil, continue.
Hello, am I audible? Great. So I think in larger context, if you think the climate challenges have been similar in proportion to the ecology that we compare. So, for example, if we compare the Jammu Kashmir, both the regions, they have the issue of melting of glaciers, and there is issues in irrigations, there is issues in um, uh, migration. In larger context, migration is an extreme big issue for India in those zones, even for Pakistan. And post that moment, when you move to the middle path, either in Lahore, either you move in Sindh, all these areas, or even in Pakistan, either you observe about Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and these areas. In larger context, warming up and temperature is a bigger issue. So heat waves, all these things directly proportionately impact the agriculture and also the survivability of the people in these areas. I think, and that has somewhere also impacted the a lot amount of livelihoods. So extreme amount of droughts which happen in India are resulting into more than 20-30 thousands of farmers dying per year because of they did not had crops to grow, and secondary was the amount of financial debt crisis that they were facing because of the money that they had borrowed from market for the cropping. So in larger context, if you connect the dots, I feel it's extremely important for us to recognize the mitigation patterns so that we are understanding that how all these things are not separated, because climate change itself is an extremely big umbrella to address. And B, I think so, and B, I think is also to understand how big impacts that we can create in larger retrospect with addressing very common needs, that is agriculture or farming or
With Ismail now. Ismail, can you go ahead
Yes.
with these three questions? Like, okay, first one is what common climate challenges do India and Pakistan face, both of these countries? So you might have heard me, Deepa.
Thank,
Yes, you are audible. You're on mute now. Yes, thank you, Ismail.
hello, good day to you. Um, Please, can you repeat the questions?
Okay, so the first question is what are the major common challenges do India and Pakistan face? So the challenges in the field of climate change that both the nations face. It's fine. We might be having some network issues and back. In the meantime, okay. So Deepa, you're from Nepal, right? And I remember last time we did a this kind of a dialogue with Nepal and India on youth, and we were having a discussion on that and fossil fuels majorly. So
I
we
remember.
also, so you were the part of it?
Yes, I take a part of this project.
Price is shrinking. So in my hometown, I have noticed that summers are hotter, winters are shorter, and rainfall has become unpredictable. So these changes I have noticed.
Yes, and sorry, I forgot. I think you had mentioned in your introduction, in which city are you based in currently?
I'm from Bannu.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
KPK.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I've heard that the environment in KPK is a bit dry. Is it like a desert? Is it mountainous? Could you please elaborate on that also?
Yeah.
Because for those of us in India, we don't know much about geography of the other side, and I'll also elaborate more on geography of Delhi and all when I speak about it next.
But there's a lot of floods as well. The day to day, that their conditions are very bad. So this is for our side.
Okay.
Um,
Manja, would you be knowing of any region in India which has a similar geography to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, if I'm
Be a collaborate maybe it can be a collaborative research and development in climate resilient agriculture, because that is one of the most prominent sector in both the countries, agriculture, yes. And these are just not the projects that we discuss. I mean, being it in Pakistan, being it in India, being it in somewhere else, they are just practical steps to align our region's development with the goals of certain agreements that have been set up to to combat the changes that the climate is facing. And this ensures energy security and sustainable livelihoods for both, like the countries, and ensuring the security for millions of people. So I hope this slide is clear. Maybe I should turn back and then ask if there is any doubt. Yeah, let me know if you have any doubt in this. Okay, I received a thumbs up. That's great. I would suggest Kanav and Simran also to participate, to engage more. I hope you must be having your commitments at this point of time, but still, I'm hoping to receive some acknowledgement from your side as well. Now moving on to the blue economy part, which I would like to really discuss very briefly, because I don't feel so that we have a lot of time to discuss it. So yeah, parallel to green economy that I discussed is the blue economy, is the concept of blue economy, which is a concept promoted by World Bank, and which emphasizes the sustainable use of ocean and freshwater resources for economic growth, and which improves livelihoods and jobs while preserving ecosystem health. And this too, like green economy I discussed, is a direct response to Paris Agreement and the article again 2.1c, which is very important article that focuses on building climate resilience through the prudent management of our both like vital shared resource, which is water. Maybe you also be knowing that how much things are going on upon the water management system, especially in this in both the countries. So yeah, not going into the political structure of the same. Maybe moving on to the more environmental thing. So yeah, I mean, this all translates into actionable priorities, promoting sustainable fisheries, leading marine conservation efforts to protect critical mangroves that exist, and launching furthermore the initiatives to reduce pollution in our waters. Yeah, I mean, the river again, Indus River basin that I talked about. This is not just an Indian river or a Pakistan river. It's a single people have to like really understand this fact. It's a like single shared hydrological system that supports the livelihoods of millions of people around that live there, and also maintains the food security of almost say the number 300 million people. So imagine how crucial is that, and its health is vitally dependent on the Himalayan glaciers that are there, and it's a system that is reportedly by just give me a minute. Maybe I'm facing some issue. Yeah, it is a system reported by International Center for Integrated Mountain Development to be reiterating at the alarming rate. Furthermore, Pakistan's here coastline, as we know, and ecologically rich in this delta, are acutely like vulnerable, making sustainable management a national priority to the country and a regional imperative. Now, this interconnected destiny makes a compelling case for scientific diplomacy, if you know the concept. The establishment of a joint Indus Basin Research Organization or the Commission for transparent data sharing for both the countries is not a political concession to behold. It is a strategic necessity for effective flood forecasting and drought management that may exist at any point of time, given it be Pakistan or India. Now, furthermore, this is the practical application of the blue economy and a direct contribution to the climate resilient development that I talked about, where environmental stewardship becomes the very foundation for lasting regional stability and prosperity. Maybe I should just brief it once more so that it can clear up to you all. So, in summary, these frameworks, the green economy and the blue economy, together illuminate an inconvertible truth, which is our environmental and economic futures are fundamentally intertwined, a reality now enshrined in global accords like Paris Agreement. Furthermore, the challenges are shared between both the countries at the political level, at the global level, at the environmental level, at the social level. But so too is the capacity for innovation. As I talked, okay, we can have some research commission. Maybe I would love to hear if you guys have some idea, and collaborative problem solving, which is most important for us as of now. And yeah, I mean, the two economies provide us with a shared language and a common toolkit to operationalize these high level goals that we are aiming for, say by 2030 or whatever. So they move us beyond a narrative of scarcity and conflict to one of the opportunity and mutual gain. Further, this foundational understanding of both the vision and the actionable frameworks perfectly sets the stage for both of us. I mean, for the nations of subsequent dialogue, as we here also talking. So yeah, I mean, let's just transition into the topics maybe that Anya has suggested, and maybe if you have some doubts still in these concepts, so maybe I would suggest you to search over. I have received something in chat. Let me just look up on. Yeah, I received. Okay, Mohammed, it's fine. And Kanav, thank you so much for your response. Um, Simran, you have to add upon to something, or Kanav, if you are, I mean, Mohammed, you can write in the chat box. I would love to hear thoughts from you as well. If you are able to write in the chat box, please do so, because we are like really looking forward to your vision. Yeah, I mean, and together we can collaborate with something that can be solved together. And I would like really appreciate you all also for turning on your cameras if you are comfortable, and otherwise, if not, that would also be fine. Okay, so I mean, we have received the message. Um, in case you have anything to say. Yeah, okay. So the solution for it, as I said, um, maybe we can deep delve into it. I mean, there's a lot to understand. The problems we know, what opportunities that exist for the cross-border collaboration, I would say. Firstly, is collaborative energy grids that I talked about. I would just briefly mention it because we have 2 to 3 minutes. So imagine a joint cross-border renewable energy grid. India's expertise in scaling power, solar power, if you know, and Pakistan potential in the wind and hydro could be integrated. Imagine a that situation. I mean, during peak generation in one country, excess power could be so sold to each other, ensuring energy security, stabilizing grids, and reducing reliance on expensive or the polluting fossil fuels that exist. And again, I mean, this aligns with all the financial flows that we are working upon to have a low carbon future. And secondly, as I suggested, for the blue economy, the collaborative action could be this collaborative solution would be. Yeah, Simran, please go ahead. I'm so sorry. I just saw the message now. Please. Yeah,
Good
yeah.
evening,
Audible.
everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you are audible.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Simran. I'm also the student of LSR from Philosophy Department. I hope that the one who is from LSR could understand this feeling. Well, coming to the topic that Moksha discussed is about blue economy and green economy, isn't it? So
Yeah, yeah, correct.
I was really intrigued to know about the blue economy and green economy. These topics are really, I mean, they're hidden from the forefront to talk about. These are
Yeah.
something which we do expect people to know very sincerely and very formally, because it holds a very natural power in terms of climate change. Because when we see about the green economy, as well as blue economy is also very much diversified in itself. There are a lot of collaborations having on multilateral platforms. I mean, the different companies and different private companies, different government companies, different countries are coming together to find a maritime conservation, to build industries based on oceanic powers. And when we are coming with the topic as green economy is something which she has, I mean, the most highlighted, which UNEP gave the definition, which included three components. I mean, social inclusivity, resource efficiency, and one more it was that I'm forgetting. I think it was about sustainable development of something. I'm forgetting. Would you mind if you could add it up?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes. What was the first component apart from the two I said already?
Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So the first one was low carbon. I mean, to reduce
Exactly.
carbon.
Low carbon. The
Yeah,
one gas which is prevalent since the Big Bang theory happened. I mean, one of uh, the largest amount of gas that atmosphere has today is naturally consisted of CO2. And just because of CO2, this is the gas which is already present by the nature itself. Still, with the help of other non-renewable resources, we are emitting a lot of CO2 through several areas. Like, I mean, in daily life, in a very structured life, we do use vehicles a lot. We use, I mean, if we say in villages area, they use fireworks which produce CO2. So there are a lot of examples that we could give where CO2 increases its emissions on the daily basis. I think we are running.
Hi everyone. I think so we can like wait for 1 to 2 minutes more. Meanwhile, other people can join us back. Thank you.
Is everyone back from the breakout rooms? Then we can start with the last session.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, I was just saying that there is one participant named Simran. She was there with me in the breakout room, and I mean, she was putting out points and was just appreciating us for bringing in the concept. So I would just like really encourage her to speak. I mean, just to continue with what she was like really saying. I'm so sorry that we didn't had that much time to discuss it over there, but I would like, I guess this is the reflection section that we are coming up right now. So maybe Simran, if you could add upon to the points, yeah, like we all would like really love to hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, please.
Thank you so much for giving that extra permission. But I think I already highlighted the things. I mean, I think we are running out of time. I mean, the screen itself showing that we're running out of the time. So it's fine. I just shared whatever I meant. It was really very interactive and intrigue zone time where we discussed about the topic. And it was really nice talking on this topic. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank thank you so much,
Yes,
everyone.
Ahmed, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I hope everybody is back by now. So welcome everyone once again. I hope everyone had fruitful and meaningful conversations. So now we'll be quickly having kind of a like reflection session. You can say taking some action points from each breakout room or group. So kindly, this is a humble request to keep it to 1 to 2 minutes maximum, so that we can hear from everyone. So can I request breakout room one guys to talk about the action points quickly in 1 to 2 minutes, and this will be followed by the breakout room 2, 3, 4. Yeah, breakout room one. Thank you.
So I had Mukaddas and Mansha with me in breakout room 1. If Mukaddas could go first and share with us what she learned about climate action in India, that would be great. And then Mansha could go ahead. Or in case if you are not able to unmute yourself, Mukaddas, you can type in the chat box. And Mansha, you can go ahead. What you learned about Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in the breakout room.
Yeah, hoping I'm audible. So like we had a very good, we had good conversation because like not a lot of people were there, so like we were able to actually get into like the bottom of things. So I got to know that the other person in the room was from KPK region, Pakistan, and I heard we didn't really know a lot about the area, about the terrain, so we were just trying to build out comparatives with that areas to areas you might have in India. And like I got to know a lot about the fact that it's a very like a resource laden area, and there's like a lot of the glacier areas as well. And I think that's something that Sahil also highlighted when we talked about Ladakh, so that we ran on that parallels as well. And yeah, I think Mukaddas is like trying to something. She'll put it in chat. Okay. So yeah, I think the mountain agriculture vulnerability is also something she talked about, soil erosion, flash floods, and a lot of things that are like very similar to what we discussed with Ladakh and also like the northeastern states and Uttarakhand. And I think Anya also said a lot about that because I think she's from that area. So yeah, so in general, I think we talked a lot and like we got to know about also like in the end, we were just talking about the community-based practices that happen and like not just like what the commonalities are, but also like in general how like communities dealing with the issues that we have around us, right? So I think there Mukada was just saying that the women participation is not that much in her area, and she didn't really know a lot, just owing to the fact that like for the tree, I was talking about the fact that tree plantations and all, and in Delhi the youth pushes a lot, is very good for that, mainly because of the fact that a lot of premier institutions are here, so youth in general is very sensitized about that. So you're just saying that that women are not allowed to like plant trees and like stuff in that just that area. I don't it's not generalization, but like yeah, so just like the barriers that are not when we talk about climate change are not just like on the basis of what we do or we not know, might not be a lot of social reasons as well. So I think that's something that we definitely got to shed a light on. So yeah, and also like I would want to read what she wrote in the chat more. Then I've said a lot in this session. I don't talk anymore. Yeah, she'll put it so that she'll put it. We'll read that. So that's cool. If we can go with the other room next, that'd be perfect.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing some wonderful reflections from the session you had. We'll go to breakout room 2. Fox from breakout room 2. Anyone who would like to go?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, completely audible.
Yeah, I'm so sorry asking it over and over again, but yeah, I'm really seeing some technical issues today. So we actually revised the concept that I talked about, the green economy and the blue economy, because the department was having some sort of misclarification those. So yeah, we discussed it over, and then we moved on to the opportunities that exist, which was I guess the second question that I invited. So that we talked about, I guess, rainfall being one major issue that the both countries are facing, and being that comes from Himalayan glaciers that melt over. I mean, these these predictable rainfall that are happening now in both regions. And then Simran was up onto her points and how she was very much interested in the concepts of and green economy had actually in our presentation. And I'd love to hear that. And we love to hear, actually love to hear that on. And she actually mentioned Abhi in part, the part of reflection in the very beginning. I mean, it hadn't even started, but she mentioned about how the press issue is of the green and the blue economy. So yeah, I mean, feel that that is from mind. Maybe Kanaf has something to say because she was also part of the breakout room. If she has to add upon to, maybe she can write it over in the chat box, or maybe can speak up for a minute. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Moksha. I think your counterpart can maybe even write in the chat box, so we can have a note of that as well. So we quickly go to breakout room 03. Fox from breakout room 03. Floor is
Okay,
yours.
so it was me along with two more people. One was Deepa Khadka and the other one is Smile. I would really want if both these two people can come up and speak, but in the meantime, I'll just say, are you there? Yeah, Smile. Can you go ahead?
Okay. Yes, we can continue. Yes, I'm waiting.
Yes, you're audible. You can go ahead.
Okay, let's just maybe sum it up in a minute or so. Ismail is from Nigeria and Deepa was from Nepal. So actually, the conversation that we had were mostly about as to how actually the world views these conflicting zones, India and Pakistan, and how exactly climate change can become a major problem-solving mechanism between these two countries as to build trust and all like that. Of course, the questions were posed together as to do what do they think about it, what are the major challenges. Ismail very well put it out in the conversation that there are major challenges and major things that both these countries face, like poverty, like inflation, like inequality, and all of these are to some extent are actually one or the other, are a result of the climate change issue only. So we were just having discussion on that since both these people were from other countries, and the discussion was somewhere around these lines.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for summarizing that. Reflections. Okay, not last but not least, we'll go to breakout room 04. Fox from 04. I can't hear you properly.
I'm audible.
Yes, much better now.
Okay,
Please.
okay. Yes, we have a room number 4, breakout room 4. There
Stay
is
again,
Sania,
Ambuku.
Sahil Gupta, and Ashraf Rahman. And
Ah,
if
I miss
Sahil,
Ambuku.
you may go ahead if you want to summarize the points.
Eh?
Sania Khilji.
I
Okay.
think Sania is here in the room, but her mic
Yes,
is on
yes.
mute.
Sania, are you there? Okay, no issue. I have to summarize the points. Actually, we are talking about the women empowerment, especially in Pakistan and most of the regions in India as well. And we have talking about the policy without any implementation in Pakistan and India as well. And they have the Sahil have discussed many such insightful discussions, like they have developed such a project that would implement and would make a bigger impact in the community. And they also contributed their NGOs and many governmental bodies to make a sustainable product and launching this product very soon as well. And it would be, and I'm also talking about the sustainable things, sustainable diapers that would be made by the fungi, the mycofungi, that would be the sustainable product, and it also helps the plant to grow very well. So these are the things that we have discussed and contributes also. Thank you very much.
Okay, love that. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing very quickly but very beautifully, you all. It was amazing to hear the unique points, I mean, brought forward by each team. Specifically, there was some new terminologies that I got to know as well. Thank you for that. Also, I feel like there were some points on which we can really build upon and work together and explore some areas, or you can say opportunities for collaboration between both sides of the borders. So yeah, Anya, over to you now. Thank you.
Yes, I'll just keep it short. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in the discussion so actively. And I hope you all can read Mukaddas' answer in the chat box. So she has very well highlighted the different regions in India and Pakistan, which we covered. And she has also pointed out some similarities, which is really nice to know. And today's discussion really showed us that even though there are so many obstacles in our way of collaboration, there is a huge need for both the countries to collaborate, because a lot of regions which are on either side of the border have the same problem, like Ladakh and KPK, but they cannot collaborate because of political barriers and other issues. But I think after today's discussion, we can reflect on these commonalities and perhaps work out some opportunities for future work in this area. And I hope that's something that everyone takes away from today's workshop. And now, Ahmed, you can start with the thank you note.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ane. As you rightly pointed out, that why not use common challenges or common opportunities to work with each other? And really lovely to see today's reflections, conversations happening. And on behalf of the organizing teams, like Peace Beyond Borders, we thank each one of you for your participation and openness today, I would say. And I hope, sincerely hope, that this workshop highlights that climate change is not one nation's problem, but rather it's a global solution or issue that requires us to work together. So this conversation doesn't end here. And we are confident that you implement today's learnings to solve problems in your surroundings. Lastly, we would request all participants to share testimonials, that we can use of their experiences and takeaways from the workshop. And this can be in a form of like 30-second to a 1-minute video. A photo collage could be something, or even you want to write out something, so you can write a 100 text or any format which best reflects your opinions and thoughts. We would like to share your testimonials on our social media platforms to encourage more people to initiate such conversations. Please note that certificates will only be issued to only those participants who submit a testimonial. This sounds harsh, this sounds bittersweet, but it is what it is. In any format of their choice, by 2nd August, you guys still have 2 to 3 days. And for more details or further details of the same will be shared on the
Sorry to
WhatsApp group.
interrupt, but it would be 2nd of September.
Yeah, so sorry.
2nd September, just that.
Yeah, 2 days from now on.
Oh, I think you don't realize you said August. That's fine. Please continue.
Okay. My apologies for messing up with the date. So it's 2nd of September.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for sharing that. And I would like to reiterate that you can keep your identity anonymous while submitting the testimonial. We just want to know about your experience, and we will just mention that a participant from India, a participant from Pakistan shared this experience. We care about your privacy, and we will share more details about how to submit the testimonials, where to submit in the WhatsApp group. So we have already extended 5 minutes before time, so I will just like to wrap up by saying thank you once again for being with us today. And today's dialogue reminded us that though borders may divide our nations, the climate crisis unites us and unites our futures. And as we leave this space, let's carry forward the spirit of collaboration and turn today's conversations into tomorrow's partnerships, ensuring that a collective voice for climate and peace continues to grow louder together. Thank you so much, everyone, for once again joining in. And we will share more details about testimonials and certificate in the WhatsApp group. Thank you. You can leave the meeting now.